Hey everyone, my name is Alyssa DeGusto, and I just want to welcome you all to PCCS's emPower Hour. Today we're here to talk about our Disability Ally Initiative, what it is, where it's going, how we got here, and where we want to go from here. So with me today, I have two of my lovely guests here, Mr. Kevin Roman and Mr. Rob Guru. So guys, if you want to give yourselves a little introduction, that'd be great.
Hi guys, I'm Kevin Roman. I'm the development strategist at Person-Centered Care Services.
Rob Guru, ISS member.
Thank you guys so much for coming. So today we're here, like I said, to talk about our Disability Ally Initiative, its roots, where we're going from here, what we've done so far, and how the community in general can help. So I'm going to pass the torch over to Kevin, who's going to be moderating, and we'll see where we go from there.
All right. I just want to thank everybody for being a part of this. Thank you, Rob. Love the hat.
So does Alexa Donnelly. Thank you, Alexa.
Definitely want to thank Alyssa for being a part of this as well. And thanks to everybody who's watching. I guess where we first would start is, since Alyssa, you were the one who taught me about DAI, what is the Disability Ally Initiative?
Well, thank you, Kevin. Thank you for that little subtle shout out there. So actually, yes. So the Disability Ally Initiative is a training that we've taken from really in its infancy. It started back in 2015, just as a typical little training to try to talk to people about how not to be awkward around people with disabilities, communication techniques, accessibility, and just why it's important to be fully integrated in the community as far as the disability community goes. So we went from just a basic little PowerPoint to now really just growing and growing and growing. So this workshop, it's kind of turned more from just a basic training to a workshop, hands-on, very, very interactive in so many ways. So what we do is we go out to businesses, schools, CBOs, healthcare organizations, anyone anywhere that wants to hear us, we're there. And we talk about, again, communication techniques, accessibility, reasons why it's so important to be fully integrated and be fully accessible. Even something as simple as going to businesses and talking about ADA laws, why it's so important. And it's so important even for communication skills, customer service. I know I'm rambling now, but the DAI, the initiative in general has just grown from something so simple as a basic PowerPoint to now going virtually. You know, we now in the midst of COVID, we've had to go from being able to physically go into these organizations and these hospitals and these businesses and these schools to now coming up with creative ways to get us to be present but behind the screen. So it's difficult, and it's been a challenge, and you know, we're learning as we're going along, but all considering, it's really going.
Yeah, I think that it's a little hard to kind of encapsulate exactly what it does, specifically because it's so malleable, flexible, you know? It doesn't look the same if you do it with a business to kind of explain why you should hire people with disabilities versus another agency or a new hire for someone who may work directly with somebody with disabilities. It is worth noting that the Disability Ally Initiative typically is about an hour, but literally can be as flexible as necessary. I know that I personally have participated in photographing one that was, if I'm not mistaken, Alyssa, in a park or...
Yes, we were in the park for the JCC's summer youth program.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you tell us a couple of other places that we've done the DAI?
Absolutely. So yeah, as in our years of doing DAI, we went nationally. So we actually went to Nashville last year and presented our Disability Ally Initiative at NatCon. And previously we've gone to Albany twice, to present at the SANUS conference. And we've also went to Indiana, I believe was the state. And we went to a conference and we presented our basic training. So again, including communication communication techniques, and just, reasons why the DAI workshop is so, so important, and where we can bring it, where we can grow from here. We're always looking for feedback. We're a very feedback-based, organization in general. So something as new and easily in its infancy can grow, and we can just mature it even more.
Now, it is worth noting as well, since it is important to have a personal experience, a firsthand account of these situations as well, that we do also try to include a self-advocate that is either in our program or has some sort of experience having a disability of some sort, physical, developmental, whatever the case may be. Rob, I just wanted to chit chat with you. Rob, if anyone doesn't know, is like famous on Staten Island pretty much. I see him out there at 10 o'clock back in the day, on the street, going to the corner store and everything. Rob, do you think there's enough people with disabilities or somebody that's getting a service? Do you think there's enough people that are kind of out there talking and saying their piece, I feel like we need more people.
Well, you can use more people.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a really great point. I think that advocacy in general is a very big topic, and it's a very big undertaking for a person to be an advocate, because there are going to be times where you have to actually confront ableism. And as a person who's non-confrontational, advocacy can have that, there's those different sides to it. And it's really important to note that there needs to be more. There needs to be as many efforts as possible. So, in our DAI training, I even say in one of our slides, we talk about advocacy and how to really just be an ally. What does it mean to you to be an ally? Does not necessarily mean walking down Fifth Avenue in a, picketing and having a parade. It could really just be stopping someone in their tracks and saying, hey, the language that you're using is really, really disrespectful. How would you like to be called a name or spoken to in a really demeaning and impersonal way? So it's, something as simple as that. We need a lot more of that.
So jumping around a little from our agenda, I do kind of want to tie this with something that I've spoken with Rob a little bit about. Rob, how you're in our ISS program, right?
Yes.
So that means, if anyone's unsure, an ISS is a subsidy program in which the agency will help pay a portion of the living expenses for someone to live with a disability to live independently. So with that being said, Rob, so you're out here living independently on your own. How long have you been in ISS?
6 years, and it's because one of my friends got me come out here. His name is Antonio Rolano.
Shout out to Antonio, who actually is one of our friends who constantly comes with us to our DAI program. So it comes full circle.
New hire too.
Yeah, new hire as well. Exactly. So, Rob, what neighborhood are you living in right now?
Right now, I will call this either Port Richmond or Graniteville.
Okay. So, do you feel like? Let me backtrack. So, do you typically with an ISS, it comes with what they call community rehabilitation services as well. You usually get a ComHab worker for about 20 hours-ish, depending on the need. Do you still have ComHab?
Yes. They've been teaching me a lot of good stuff like cooking, cleaning. But they're not here to do it for you. They're here to assist if you need the assistance.
Got you. Absolutely. And you're pretty, you're a pretty independent dude. So they'll help you with like smaller daily living skills sort of stuff. But when it comes to shopping or going to the doctor, or even, as I understand, you're a DJ, right?
Yes.
So working as a DJ, that's all on your own, right?
Right. But
Okay.
when it comes down to shopping, the staff, they help me, and they also work on one of the goals that I have, which is budgeting. So the budgeting works in with the shopping, with the food shopping and everything else.
Listen, if you can help me with my budgeting, by all means, because man, my goal is budgeting too. So, with that being said, so let's use shopping for as an example. You're with a ComHab worker that's taking you to ShopRite and XYZ. Do you ever feel like do you feel like you're included in your community? You're the one who kind of does all the shopping. You do what you need to do. You pay it. You talk to the cashier, things like that.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Right. We just go over the pricing of what we're getting and what we need in the house, and like that, and what's healthy choices, like with food wise, what I'm buying.
Okay, great. Have you had any experiences being a self-advocate where you have met anyone who maybe a doctor who isn't explaining things the right way to you? Do you feel like you're included in your community?
Yeah, I am always.
Yeah. Great. Tying it a little back to DAI, a lot of our program is intended for those outside people that are in our community to kind of understand that, a good portion of people in agencies, our agency and agencies beyond, and even in their homes, don't have the massive independence that Rob has, and it might be more difficult for someone who has a disability to go to a doctor and have the doctor speak directly to them, or a landlord even. Let's talk about living on your own with landlords. So when it comes to any issues, Rob, you speak directly to your landlord, just call them up and say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, me and my landlord, we have good communication, and if I don't know something, I would ask either him or I would ask Nicole to help me straighten it out, and always.
Awesome. Nicole being Nicole Forgione, the community living specialist for our ISS program. Feel free to correct me, Nicole, for that. Yeah, I think that's important because a lot of landlords might not understand having somebody with a disability. They might be a little reticent, a little nervous to kind of work alongside that. So tying that back into the DAI program, Alyssa, what kind of people, aside from agencies, do we work with the DAI program?
Yeah, we're really, really flexible as far as where it is that we take the DAI workshop in general. We've gone to many schools. Actually, our pilot school for Disability Ally Week was IS 34, my alma mater. And we went and taught to the 6th grade classes, which was super duper interesting to me because I think that we were so used to going to places that were adults, so maybe 18 and up, and now we're going to schools that they're 10 years old. And I was talking to them and asking them about things, something as simple as, does anybody here know what Willowbrook is? And it was like a real generational gap that we had there, and it was just a moment of realization, wow, we really need to teach our kids really where we were and where we're going, where we came from. So we definitely, that was a really great experience. So we're actually working with a couple of schools in the upcoming months. Unfortunately, COVID kind of impacted us a little bit, unfortunately, to be able to go into the schools a little bit more freely. But, thankfully, technology has been really great to us. We also have gone to a couple of businesses. So we've spoken to a couple of small businesses and have presented our training to talk to them about customer service and what it means to have employees that are, interns that have a disability. So we had a lot of, best practices and techniques, and even how to like remain patient and kind, and just that real customer service side of things, which I think is good for no matter what the situation is. We've also been to a couple of hospitals as well, healthcare organizations like elderly communities, and parks, and in the middle of some trees. We've done our disability ally training, and a lot of other nonprofits as well. So we've actually had the opportunity to go to a few nonprofits that we're very interested in knowing where they can go from here. So that's been really great for us as well.
So, Alyssa, if I'm a business owner, why do I want to have your program? What value does your program have for someone who owns their own business?
I mean, to be quite honest, I think that why wouldn't you? That I think that there's just so much value that's held in just an hour-long training that we can truly bring to you whatever problems and situations your specific business is coming across. So whether it be that you're unsure how to communicate with a person with a disability, we can teach you some really great ways in doing so. Even talking about ADA laws, something I had talked about earlier, having that opportunity to really hash out and discuss things that are at our fingertips, and being able to ask those questions that you probably didn't even know you had. It's just a really great space to have that open forum. So I think that it just makes sense.
Nice. Rob, we had talked about Antonio, who has been part of our DAI program. Are you involved in our DAI program at all currently?
That I'm not sure.
Okay. Have you had any situations in your life where you felt kind of like discriminated against?
No.
Nice. And I think that's honestly, a testament to the neighborhoods and the process and the projects that we've been working on. That may not have been the case, 20 years ago, honestly, and that's not the case for a lot of people in our programs that maybe have a little more trouble. Alyssa, why would a school as well be interested in this? I mean, a school, the kids will enroll in the school. They have a structure. What more can we possibly offer for a school?
So that's so great that you said that, and you asked that question, because to me, I think out of all of my experience being in DAI, going to the schools and having these conversations, even with 10-year-olds, really is so. I did not realize how impactful and how important a conversation about disability and mental health really was. So going into the school, our main intention was to talk about anti-bullying and why bullying is never okay, and how to kind of identify disability in at its core, and what would be the right thing to do, and right thing to say. So for me, having these conversations with these kids that I really didn't even think they actually fully understood what we were talking about, they were coming to me even after our 30-minute sessions, because again, we're very customizable. That's my little plug there. We're as customizable as possible. So whether it be an hour or 30 minutes, we got you. But after our 30-minute session, these kids were coming up to me, 10 years old, saying like, I suffered from depression, and I really don't know how to tell my friends that, and I don't know what to do about that. And actually, like, saying it now, it really is like, I'm tearing up to even just talking about it. So kind of have to stop here. But having those real raw conversations, even with someone that, is so young, it doesn't matter how old you are to really find the impact in it. So schools can really find how to really just be a friend. And we did it in a way where we were able to have a lot of integration activities, I guess. So we created a lot of worksheets and a lot of hands-on. We even used candy to kind of give those kids that positive reinforcement and say, like, there's something at the end of this. So as long as you do this, but they really were genuinely engaging and enjoying it. And like I said, having those conversations after the fact, 30 minutes in, as I'm leaving, they're like, hey, Alyssa, wait, I really need to ask you something. I'm afraid to talk to my friends or my teacher or even my parents about it. So it just creates that safe space that PCCS is so, we're so focused on, is being that we're able to provide as many resources and we're here for you no matter what. That just made it come full circle.
Definitely makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Wendy, definitely see all your comments. And I think that having somebody who's watching right now, identifying with what we're talking about, is really important. It shouldn't be a situation where someone's bullied in schools, somebody that feels that they are awkward around their coworker that has a disability, or feel uncomfortable by an employee with a disability. There's a lot of work to still be done in this program.
Absolutely. We have a long way to go. This is just the tipping point, but all considering, we're getting there. So it's nice.
Absolutely. Rob, we had mentioned you're a DJ.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that since I think 2001.
2001.
And again, my DJing reflects on the person that taught me, which again is Antonio.
Nice.
He taught me all of it, from starting your own business to building it on your own. So now I improved and I went on my own with it, and
nice.
Just building up and building up.
Nice. I would also like to say shout out to Antonio. How you doing? Hope that you get to see this. Antonio as well, like a little entrepreneur, man. He's always out there doing his thing. And I think that, Rob, if you haven't been part of our DAI previously, let's talk a little afterwards about maybe having you on our DAI program. Because honestly, I think a lot of people need to see that aspect of it. The people who are building their own lives, and beyond that, even their own businesses, I know personally in the agency, working in different departments, I've reached out to Rob a dozen times. Hey, we have this event, man. You want to go DJ? And coming out here with the full set, with the speaker and the laptop and the speakers and everything, and I think people really need to see more of that, because a lot of times people hear the word disability and they have a very particular viewpoint of what that looks like. And it's more so that people need to see the DJ Robs out here that are at your local bar, out here DJing. That was what you were doing before COVID, right?
Yeah.
You were out here at the bars?
I was over at a place called Casey's on Port Richmond.
Right. Alexa had mentioned, how does it feel being a business owner?
I'm not sure.
Oh, pardon me. My Amazon Echo wanted to chime in. Rob, how does it feel that you have your own DJing, that you don't answer to another boss, that you are your own businessman?
Well, it's pretty good. You don't have to answer to nobody. But on the other side, having a personal, job and working on the outside, which you get more pay when you have a regular job.
Right.
This program also helps with that too.
Right.
Product work employment.
Right, exactly. Looks like, Rob, you have
a fan base here. All fans are here.
I just started sharing it, so
listen, you could be on the show anytime. All right, just bring the fan club.
Exactly.
Speaking towards the programs too, I just wanted to add as well that I think it's the Disability Ally Initiative is a good tie-in to a lot of the programs that we have. Speaking on working with a business, for example. You know, a business might not know that the retention rate for a person with a disability that's hired is typically higher and they stay longer than someone who maybe doesn't have a disability, you know? And that ties into our employment programs in which we help those people with the disability connect with that business owner that knows that they want to hire somebody and have a more diverse and inclusive employment program. Similarly, we have had a lot of conversations with landlords. You know, Rob, it's great that you have a really great relationship with your landlord. Has it always been the case? You've always had pretty good landlords?
Yes. Always had pretty good landlords. You know, never had a problem with one. You know.
Wow, lucky you.
You just have to keep good relation and listen to what they say. Listen to the rules that they tell you to follow in your place, and you'll never have a problem.
Maybe that's why I had a problem. I had a cat when I wasn't supposed to, and then it got kind of south from there. So maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that with something like that, having conversations with landlords that maybe don't know the benefits, you know, of having an ISS or even what that means. You know, you say all these letters and stuff. A lot of times people don't know, you know? So I think it's important to have those conversations with landlords so they can understand those aspects and then tie in our ISS program where we help people get their own apartment and live independently. Now, prior to living in ISS, Rob, where were you living?
Right now?
Before ISS, before you were with us.
Before ISS, I was living with the state, which was part of Willowbrook. Disabilities, you know, and they teach you the guide steps to living independently, sort of. A little bit, you know, they don't teach you a whole lot, but teach you the basic steps like keeping track on medicine, keeping track on doctor appointments.
Right.
The main stuff that you need to know.
Okay. And then after that, you had transitioned over after Antonio had recommended, right?
Yeah, he recommended me to the program. You know.
Gotcha. Okay, and now in terms of that, like how is that feeling? How is that when you transition from being in a Willowbrook-esque setting to living on your own?
Much better. It's relaxful. You know, you don't have a lot of people telling you, you know, what you have to do, what you need to do, whatever. But, you know, at the same time, you also got to make sure you follow the steps to keep the apartment on the outside.
Right. And again, kind of tying in the DAI aspect, that wouldn't be possible without a community that understands the importance of including everybody, you know? You had mentioned that you have a DSP that helps you out, right? What does that look like? Alexa's asking what does that look like on a regular Tuesday afternoon? What is you and your DSP doing?
What do you mean?
What is your DSP helping you with?
Well, my DSP is basically helping me with budgeting, cooking, assisting, really. I'm basically doing all the work, you know, because I need to notice when they're not here. And that's what they're here for, you know. They're here to assist when you need the assistance with certain stuff. You know, they're not here to do it all for you.
Right. So you guys kind of lay out all the bills and kind of sit here and kind of budget what money needs to go where and all that good stuff?
Exactly. Like we have a plan on the wall right over here, like bills not open, bills paid, and bills, you know.
Nice.
Gotta be paid, you know.
Nice.
I love that organization. That's some serious organizational skills. I wish I had that.
Got me beat, right? I don't know.
Seriously, that's great.
That's pretty great. I guess in regards to our DAI program, I feel like our program kind of structures the foundation for these things.
Absolutely.
You know?
I definitely think that something to like notate for our DAI program in general is that even after like a quick analysis, to kind of give a little backstory, the way that we do our DAI training is we present a pre-evaluation, like a couple minutes prior to actually presenting. After we go through the activities, the open forum, the discussions, we do a post-evaluation. The post-evaluation has the exact same questions plus a presenter's evaluation on there. It's just to kind of see where the progression went from one side to the other. So what were we looking at before we took this presentation? What are we looking at now that we took this presentation 5 minutes ago? So after a quick analysis, I will hit you guys with some stats. But in 2019, after evaluating and analyzing our pre and post eval responses, 77% of people are able to confidently define and implement a person-centered approach. Being that we are person-centered care services, that is really our mission and our path is to be as person-centered as possible. So our DAI really does talk about how we can go from being system-centered, the way that it was many, many years ago, to now where a group home is not a group home, it's a home, it's someone's home, it's not an institution. So 77% said that they can confidently do that. 72% can confidently advocate for disabilities, which I think is incredible. 82% confidently can define what a disability is. 70% can recognize ableism and correct it. And with these numbers, they are growing. So this was just from 2019. After a couple of years of analysis, we've done over 120 trainings since it began, which is something that's really incredible because a majority of them happened probably the latter part of last year. Was a lot of that like banging out as far as those trainings go. So we've trained over 1,800 people from so many different backgrounds, which to me, just that really does speak volumes that people are interested and people want to learn and people want to see what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong and how they can just be better. To me, I think the biggest takeaway for it is that high percentage of people that can identify ableism and confront it. I was a person that I didn't have that much experience in the disability community. I did some volunteer work with people with disabilities, but that was the extent of what my experience was. So learning, and even something as simple as within my first week of working here, I personally learned so much just by being fully integrated into a community of people with disabilities. I worked side by side with people with disabilities, doing the same tasks that I was doing. And it really taught me that, you know what, Alyssa, you are a prime suspect for infantilization. And you are talking to people with disabilities like they're children. And you know what, they're not. And they're really, really smart and really getting the job done. Probably better than me, to be quite honest. So I think that high percentage of confronting ableism, it's so big for me because I think that's just such an uncomfortable situation sometimes. It really can be, especially when you are not a confrontational person. It's coming up to someone and saying like, hey, that R word should be getting taken out of your vocabulary. There is no reason under the sun that you should be still using that word. So being able to kind of like say that confidently, that's incredible. To me, that's incredible that high number of people can do that.
I know one part, not to spill the whole DAI, but one part that I always love to train, we have a sheet that has, I want to say about 30 to 35 different questions or statements, I'm sorry, that an ableist person, someone who is able-bodied and neurotypical would take advantage of. The fact that we aren't looked at as a burden. A lot of times, unfortunately, people with disabilities, especially when it's a child, it's looked at like, oh man, that must be so hard for you. Looking at someone like Rob and not saying, wow, Rob, such a great job with your apartment. You're so good. You're a fully grown man, right? Like,
right.
This is my apartment. What are you talking about? Looking at things like that. And you really get so much different context of where someone who is able-bodied or neurotypical, we take advantage of the fact that people don't think that way. People don't look and say, wow, look at you have a girlfriend, how cute is that, you guys, oh shucks, it really puts a lot of perspective into things like that. I know that Alexa had a really great question I wanted to touch on. Rob, if you wanted to teach people like one main thing about people with disabilities that they're just not getting, if you just had an open forum to tell everybody, guys, this is what it is, what would you tell them? What would you explain to them?
About like what kind of?
Well, if there's just one main thing that people think about with people with disabilities, what would you tell them?
Tell them to stay focused and keep doing what they got to do. Maybe one day they can be out here like me,
living your best life.
Yep. Just staying focused is the best key.
Yeah. And for our general community, just your regular Joe on the street, do you feel like you would explain something to them that maybe you're capable of doing everything the same way as they are? Do you feel like you would say anything to just our general people, the readers right now, our Facebook viewers right now? What would you tell them?
Just stay focused and do what you got to do.
I hear that.
Every day living, the way you can.
I hear that.
Every day is a different book. We always wake up different side each day.
Absolutely.
I think people with disabilities are people first. At the end of the day, no matter what, they're people first. Their disability does not define them. So kind of going off of what Kevin was talking about earlier with our able privilege checklist, which is something that when you take our DAI training, you will be able to take a look at. However, I did want to kind of point out a couple of key points that we get a lot of feedback on when we do these trainings. We have, for example, one of the statements on there that we've gotten a lot of people saying, like, that's not something that I've ever thought about before. If I do have children, people won't constantly question whether it was responsible to add another person who might be like me to the world. To me, as a woman, forget about anything else, as a woman, to be the idea of someone looking at me and questioning whether or not I should be having that decision to have a child or not is something that's so like grave for me. So then to have that, that mindset of, what, people with disabilities, they're people first. That does not mean that they can't make decisions with their body just as anybody else can. I think even unfortunately at this day and age, we're still facing that with doctors. There are doctors of women's health that still kind of have that mindset that's like, what, maybe it's the best choice not to have a child. And again, as a woman, I don't think that there's any right anywhere to say something like that, and to make that call for someone. So that was just one specifically that always would stick out to me, and the others that have taken our training.
I know for myself, one that always spoke out to me, and I don't have the list in front of me, but I remember it was something along the lines of like, in media, you see people with disabilities either as a villain or as a place of sympathy.
Yep.
You don't see people with disabilities as just their own person. You don't see them as so-and-so's brother, and it's not made a big thing like, oh, I'm taking care of little Johnny, how great am I? For me personally, also as a person of color, that always resonates because I like to see the same thing that I see. I have a daughter, so when I want her to see role models and other people with that come from her, so in the same vein as well, there should be more people with disabilities as well that are just their own character. You know, Rob, do you feel similarly that you want to see more people with disabilities in just movies and TV and you know?
It's funny that you had said that one, because I think I want to say it was the last DAI training that I had personally done, and we went through this checklist, and one person actually pointed out that that was the one that stuck out to them the most. So to reiterate, it was in TV and movies, people with myability status are not portrayed exclusively as villains, objects of pity, or soulless plot devices. And at this time, when I was doing this presentation, it was when the Joker was out, and it was very big. So for, that turned into a very big conversation to say that, you know what, the Joker, yes, he was a bad guy, but he had a disability. So and look at how he was portrayed as. So, it goes into that gray area where now it opens up a big conversation. So I want to thank you for pointing that one out, because that went very deep.
For me, I always think of more of like a physical disability. I remember it was 007, the movie Skyfall, I want to say. And there's the Javier Bardem's character. And he's the villain, XYZ, Javier Bardem, handsome man. And it's not until you see that he's a villain that he has something wrong. I guess if I remember correctly, his face was shot off or something. Something happened, and you see him take out his whole top part of his jaw, essentially. And now there's like a physicality that goes alongside his villainy that I felt just didn't need to be shown. For what exactly did we need to associate someone who maybe looks like that, has a cleft palate, or some sort of physical disability? Now we're associating that with this aspect of being a villain. Not to say anything of those other movies. I'm blanking on the one with Leonardo DiCaprio in the 80s. Oh my God.
I'm the worst at that.
His brother had a disability or something like that, and it was a deeply sympathetic, oh, my poor brother sort of thing, It just needs to be something more where you just see regular.
It's funny, actually, in our DAI training, one of the slides had said, I don't want to be compared to Rain Man. And that, to me, is such a big, that's something that's so impactful to me, because it's why?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and people think that when you hear the word autistic or autism spectrum, they're like, oh, Rain Man, oh,
exactly.
You know the exact date of my birthday. No, maybe they don't, man. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Speaking of Rob, real quick,
Lori just pointed out that it was Who's Eating Gilbert.
Who's Eating Gilbert Grape? Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Lori. That was bothering us for the rest of the day.
Yep. Speaking of Rob, real quick, can you talk a little about your relationship with your DSPs? How are your DSPs?
DSPs, they like I said, they hear every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They communicate, they help me with, different skills that I'm learning, which is different goals, which is money management, keeping on track of medicine, and keeping track on cooking skills, and which is improving.
Oh, I'll be over when you're cooking something, man. Don't worry. I'm
making my cooking tonight, so
we'll have a potluck.
There you go. I'll bring dessert.
But that reminds me also it was a TV show I was watching, Law and Order. There's two disability people living together, and they didn't think that it was gonna, work out.
Mm.
But at the same time, they made it work out.
Right.
They on track with everything. Just like behind me, I don't know if you see that chart right over there on the wall.
Yep.
The way I put all my appointments and write everything down, doctor's notes, next doctor visits.
Perfect. I do want to kind of touch on that with your DSP as well, because now you've said that your goals are your goals and they're for you to do. Has it always been the case that DSPs understand that, or have you had DSPs that kind of want to do stuff for you?
Well, no, we always worked on whatever we had to work on, which was keeping on track of that. If there was something else needed to do, they would tell me, hey, Rob, we got to sit down, we got to make a list, and we got to make a, chart or whatever, or what else you got to work on.
So they always keep you in the driver's seat.
Exactly.
Nice. A lot of times, not speaking for anyone in particular, but a lot of times in other areas, you'll find that they kind of have the mentality of like a parent. Like, oh, let me help you, but I'll help you budget. Let me help you with this, or, oh, did you take your medication?
It's just like the saying, say for example, I need help with my cleaning. My cleaning's not so good. But we all know something different about that. We all know my cleaning's on top. If I came out of miss something, you would say, Rob, you missed something. You didn't clean something the right way. We have to go over your cleaning, so your hygiene and whatever.
Yep. Great. I want to touch on something Lori had asked. Rob, who are your role models? You have role models?
Role models?
Yeah.
In which case?
Any case. Tell me when a role model in your life, role model in being a business owner.
Role model, like I said, I follow my best friend, Antonio, because, teaches me half the stuff that, DSPs don't teach you on the side, but, that's a different story, He helped me with this paint job behind me and stuff,
Nice. I'm going to hire you both for my next painting job because I hate
hire him. Don't hire me. Sloppy work when it comes to painting.
I hear that.
I look up to him. He's like the person.
That's great. That's really awesome. Similarly, she also said, since you're a DJ, what do you bring to the table? Why should we hire you as a DJ? Let's plug that DJ gig a little bit.
Why? Well, hey, I travel with so many entertainment people. Elvis impersonators and Frank Sinatra impersonators.
You do it all.
You name it. I even bring Boyz II Men to the house.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'm in.
Nice.
Hired, Rob.
Nice. I can't wait till we get back into society fully and we could do some events and DJ Rob will hit you up.
Absolutely.
If
the price is right.
Bring the money. I hear that. Similarly, Alyssa, I guess to kind of start tying it all together, if we want to be a part of the Disability Ally Initiative, if I'm someone who wants to advocate, if I am a business owner who's interested, if I am a teacher who knows that we can benefit from that, how can we connect?
You can email me and I will definitely get that ball rolling. So I will share my email in the comments. I feel like I share it pretty much every week. So hopefully it hits somewhere. But you can definitely email me and from there we can really just get the ball rolling. I mean, something as simple as a basic phone call has been what started so many partnerships, to be honest. Just like a random, hey, I saw that you have this random offering that I found on your website, but I don't really understand it. What do I do? And from there, we got it started. So definitely send me an email and we can talk out your needs. That would be the next step. We talk about what are things that you face, what are things that you think you and your team need to learn. We bring, like Kevin had said earlier, we do have a self-advocate that comes along with us for the presentations, and they speak on their behalf and on their experiences and really just brings everything full circle, which is really great. So that would definitely be your next step. To send me an email and we'll get it started.
Nice. And Rob, hopefully we can have you on as well, have you tell your experiences to everybody. Thank you, Wendy. My son's and one of my daughters has a disability. They were raised without thinking they were no different than anyone else. Absolutely.
That's so important. It's so important to raise your children thinking that way, because that's the fact of the matter. No matter what the bullies say, we'll always come back on top.
It starts from home,
Absolutely.
Anything else, Rob, you want to add before we go?
Well, if anybody wants to hire me for a DJ, they can always email me, djrobg1081 at gmail.com.
Right. I'm sending it in the comments, Rob.
Yes. All right, my man. Perfect. All right, guys. Alyssa, anything else?
I think that's really it. So I guess, to kind of tie this all together, next week we'll be having some more guests, kind of gearing towards our ISS department, similarly that we were discussing with Rob. And we're going to start blasting out our monthly calendars. So, we're getting a lot of ideas emailed to us. If you guys have more ideas about different Facebook Lives that you want to see, please email me, because we are so eager to have guests, to have people that want to be involved any way that they can. So I really, really encourage you to reach out and, let us know what are some things that you want to hear. Maybe even doing a DAI training on Facebook Live, having that interactive piece where, people that are watching can comment and we can really have that open forum about what are things that you're facing and how can we navigate that. So that's what I got. So we will definitely keep everyone posted about next week's topic.
Yeah, guys, definitely. If you're seeing this afterwards, drop some comments. Anybody that has any ideas, anything ranging from a self-advocate, somebody with a family member, a friend, an employee, any ideas, programs, services, even stories. We want to hear what it's like to be a DJ.
Next topic, maybe that would be good for your live. Maybe have one of the ISS members and their DSP at the same time on the Facebook Live.
Absolutely. We want as many different perspectives as possible so we could really break them down, talk about it, and really unravel it, and really join together as a community.
Definitely. So thank you so much, Rob, for coming on the show with us.
Thanks, Rob.
So we really appreciate you. You were a blast from the beginning, so thank you. And we're really looking forward to seeing where we go from here. So and I want to thank everyone who's been watching. Thank you for spending your lunch time with us.
Thank you, guys.
We will see you guys next week.